Joining us now via Skype to discuss what options are available for privacy-minded consumers is digital specialist Dirk Visser. Dirk, thanks very much for your time. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. We'll talk about the options in just a moment, but first I just want to understand how Zoom got here. Is it a matter of sheer luck that there was a pandemic that forced everyone to stay at home that led to the success, or has Zoom legitimately got something right?
You know, I don't think that Zoom actually expected this kind of blowout in users. In 3 months, they moved from 10 million daily users to 200 million daily users. And the CEO, Eric Yuan, has been blown away because this is a business conferencing video tool. It's not for home-based. It was never designed for home-based. So, you know, it was surely by luck that people started going, let's have a Zoom meeting. And I think it was just it became a colloquial term, and it is a colloquial term, you know, let's just Zoom, you know, and it's easy to use. So, yeah, purely by luck, but absolutely has just blown up in the last 3 months.
It's quite an interesting problem to have, you know, because they're now sitting with an increased number of users, and you're sitting in a context where a whole lot more people are stressed about a decrease in demand, so to speak. Take us through, though, what some of the emergent concerns are then, because they were caught off guard, so to speak. I mean, what are some of the more pressing issues that have come up from this increased demand?
So there are a couple of issues. The biggest issue is the end-to-end encryption that Zoom makes use of, which is not to industry standards. Understanding that the end-to-end encryption that they used for data flow wasn't actually applied to video calls per se, which they've had to now kind of retrofit and go back and look at all the security within the platform. So basically, in layman's terms, they were using laptops or people's devices as servers, so as host servers. So the data that was stored on individual laptops rather than having a server act as the main sort of composite of all the data. And they've now changed that to make sure that all the data is being hosted correctly in correct server bases, so server farms. But obviously this has caused a bit of panic, and this has also opened up the door for what is known as Zoom bombing. And what Zoom bombing is that people will kind of hack a Zoom meeting because there's a password on it, and they're kind of just guessing the password or the meeting ID, and then joining meetings which are public meetings, and you know, spamming those meetings with all sorts of racist content, pornographic content. We've seen a case of that here already in South Africa with one of our ministers. And it's literally just people getting onto a public meeting and Zoom bombing to just kind of just cause havoc in, you know, the state of play. But I think that's more of an internet user problem rather than a Zoom problem, because you're always going to find people on the internet that are going to want to try and hack the system.
Right, and I guess it also raises questions about what the alternatives are. We'll speak about that in just a moment. Before then, though, you know, often when they say if a service is free, then you are probably the one paying the price, right? And that speaks to
Yeah.
the idea of how your data is probably being the one that's being used to keep the service open. What is the price that is, you know, hypothetically being paid when you use Zoom at the moment?
You know, there's an Afrikaans saying that says, goedkoop is duurkoop. You know, so it is going to cost you if you're buying something cheaply. But I don't think that the average Zoom user has anything to worry about. In my honest opinion, you know, a lot of us, what we're doing with Zoom is that we are conducting, you know, family meetings, and we're having a bit of a conversation at work and whatever. Unless we're doing very intricate nuclear deals or very high-level financial discussions, I don't think that there's an issue with worrying about whether our privacy is being taken for granted and whether our data is being stolen. Because the with Zoom being so under the microscope at the moment, they've actually brought in technicians that previously worked at Facebook to help with the encryption and the security of the platform. So as far as privacy is concerned, I really don't think that the consumers have anything to be concerned about. Obviously, if there's very sensitive stuff that we need video conferencing for, then we need to look at other alternatives. So, we need to look at GoToMeetings, or we need to look at Skype or Microsoft Teams for those high-level business discussions. But as the everyday user is making use of Zoom, I think you can rest easy knowing that because there's a microscope on the platform, they're doing everything that they can to make sure that the security and the data is looked after the right way.